I decided to lose the weight for me because I wanted to be happy, I wanted to be healthy, I wanted to do this, I actually started improving and I started achieving it because I was doing it for me. I was happy doing it for me. I was miserable doing it for other people. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Hannah and I lost about 100 pounds. I actually uploaded that video, I think it's like about a month ago. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for the support because it was just amazing. I know I have to go back to that video and comment on some people because I was just so overwhelmed with all that support. So I want to just say thank you before I even start this video. So this video is going to touch base on just trying to heal your relationship with food, because I feel like food can literally like make or break you in terms of your weight loss journey. To be honest, I feel like you cannot lose weight if you don't eat proper or if you don't eat right. So that's what this video is gonna be about, and I'm gonna be giving you guys some tips and some tricks that my nutritionist lady gave me. So if you don't have money to go see a nutritionist, don't worry, I got you. I have all the things she gave me, and I'm just gonna basically talk to you guys about it. I kind of want to go back and tell you guys like about how bad my relationship with food was. Like, I was that person that will literally wake up in the middle of the night around like 2 a.m. to sneak out to the fridge to go eat food because I just couldn't stop thinking about food, right? So it's like, it's just more of like, I literally did struggle when it came to like food and my relationship with food and everything. And I just feel like in order for me to kind of like get where I am now, I literally had to heal that relationship through seeing a nutritionist, through seeing a therapist. I feel like all those stuff kind of like helped me get to where I am right now. I feel like now I'm in the right place where I can share with everybody and kind of like give you guys all the tips and tricks that I learned, so that if you are on your weight loss journey, it could help you, you know. So before I start, let's go back in time. So I grew up in Ghana, and as most of you guys know, or if you guys don't know, Ghana is in Africa. I feel like people say Africa as Africa is a country. No, Africa is a continent. There's different countries in that continent. So I grew up in one of the countries in Africa, which is Ghana. I grew up with my aunties and my uncles in Ghana, and to be honest, I was raised with like being polite, being respectful, not saying no, always saying yes. And I feel like it got to the point where like even to this day, I have the hardest time saying no to people. I feel like now I've gotten better, but I feel like before it just hurt my soul when I say no to someone, even though like I feel like that's what I needed to do. My problem with food actually, it started there, but it didn't. It actually got worse when I came to America. I feel like for there, it was just more of like some people in that family would kind of be like, oh, if you want food, right? I'm not gonna say which family, I'm not gonna say from my dad's side, my mom's side, I don't know. If you know, you know. They know who they are. So I feel like they will, if they see this video, hi, I hope you're doing well. But yeah, so I feel like some people will be like, oh, okay, like if you want food, like the thing that your dad sent you, let's say like my dad will be sending me like clothes, money, like those like toy cars, because like I was still young, right? Okay, like if you want food, you have to let your cousin ride that car for like a whole week in order for me to give you food. Or if you want this, this person has to do this. If you want this, if your dad send you money, you have to give me this. It became that of like environment where anything that my dad would send me from America to Ghana, I would not be able to like use or touch unless I do A to Z or A to whatever, right? So in order for me to even like sometimes receive food, sometimes receive this, receive that, it just became a really toxic environment to the point that I literally remember my parents sending me to go live with my school teacher because she had the best interest for me, right? And I feel like it was just that environment where this scare tactic in my head where it's like, oh my gosh, like you don't know when your next meal is gonna be. You literally don't know if you're gonna eat today or tomorrow, because you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to let your cousins use your toys, you have to give your money that your own father sent you to give it to your grown adult uncles in order for you to even get food. And I feel like it just got to that point where like I still had that mentality when I came to America. I feel like coming to America and people commenting about, oh my gosh, like you're so skinny, you're so this, you're so that, like don't they feed you in Africa? You mean Ghana? I then started developing this like unhealthy relationship with food, where I was like, oh my gosh, okay, these people are saying I'm skinny, now let me just keep on eating to just get a little bit big. Like as you guys saw on my last video, where I went from being skinny to just like eating to being like overweight, right? And I feel like that did not help me at all. I feel like that, coming from a place where like not being able to get food to having access to so much food and people like commenting on your weight, and you're like, okay, now that I have this much food, I have to now try to like eat to gain the weight, which I don't recommend to anyone that's coming back from like a third world country to do that. Don't listen to people. You're beautiful the way you are. People will always project their insecurity on you. Don't let that be your reality, okay? I started indulging in food, and it just became a point where that I actually started gaining weight. So there's this like African food or Ghanaian food that like I was really like obsessed with. It's called like fufu, where it's like you eat with your hands with soup and stuff like that. Like I was so obsessed with that food. But it's been like what, almost like 10 years since I have had that food because of a comment that my dad made. I remember my mom made the delicious soup with like the fufu and everything, and I was just sitting there eating with just like joy in my face. And my dad was like, well, for someone your size, you should not be eating that type of food. Or like he said it in like my native language, where like it hit so bad. Like it hit me to the point that I was like, you know, you're right, let me not eat that food. So I actually like stopped eating that food, and it became a problem where like anytime I eat in front of my dad, I'll hear those like comments like, oh, like you're too big, like also, which is like you're too big in my language, whereas like, oh, like you need to stop eating this, you need to stop eating that, to the point that like he said, like I stopped eating in front of people because I just don't want to hear comments. I want to enjoy my food. I want to eat and be like, wow, that was a good meal, I'm satisfied. But I feel like I couldn't do that, because anytime that like I would eat, I would just hear those like comments where I'm like, okay, these people are right, like I should not eat that food if I want to lose weight. So I kind of like stopped eating those type of food, which did not help at all. I feel like when I stopped eating in front of people, I started developing this problem where then I would eat in secrets, right? I would not eat, let's say, for like the whole day, right? Because I'm like, you know what, I want to be skinny. I want to be like walking around people like, oh my god, look at Hannah, like she looked good, she did that, right? So I will stop eating in front of people, but then it's just like in the middle of the night, I will have the biggest like starvation feeling. Like I will feel like the craving just would not stop. So I will literally like sneak downstairs, like tippy-toe, like I'm about to rob this place. Like I will open the fridge slowly. Sometimes I don't even heat up the food because I don't want to wake no one up. I would open the fridge, the biggest plate, and fill it up with rice and stew and some like meat, like chickens and eggs, and just would sit in the dark and just eat until I can't breathe no more. And I feel like that behavior continued for years, actually, to the point that I was like, oh my god, it feels so good not to be judged. Like I love just eating at night because I just feel like I could be myself. I can actually eat and enjoy the food like how it's supposed to be enjoyed, right? And I feel like like I said, that did not help my relationship with food, nor did that help with my eating disorder or everything that my therapist or my psychiatrist said I had, right? So trying to undo that was the biggest task when it came to me losing weight. I feel like trying to unlearn all those like bad behaviors, not eating to the point that I can't breathe. And to be honest, I did not know that that was a sin. I did not know that you eating to the point that you can't even breathe was a sin. And once I started learning that, that also kind of like shifted my behavior when it came to that. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I have like a slip up and stuff like that, but I feel like it's not as worse as it was, right? That happened for about like a year or so. I noticed that like I wasn't losing weight, I was just gaining the weight more and more and more. That like I was sick of hearing people talk, I was sick of hearing my own family talk. I was just like, I just want to eat and just be happy. Like I want to literally enjoy food. I love food. Like anyone that knows me knows that like I love food. Just food just makes me happy. I feel like it was more of like a trauma bond, whereas like food just makes me happy because I had to work for food when I was in Ghana. That now it's just when I eat, I just like, wow, it's like well deserved. So okay, how did I go about getting help, right? So I feel like even before I even got help, I feel like I overeat, undereat. I feel like my relationship with food was just purely horrible. It was so horrible to the point that like, for example, my mom will make food or I'll go get food from outside, right? And I would eat half of the food and like, you know what, I'm so full, like I can't eat no more. Let me just put the food away and just like save it for like tomorrow or for like maybe like later on when I'm hungry. I will literally leave, put the food in my fridge, leave and come to my room or go do something, and my brain or my mind will not stop thinking about that food. Like all I could think about is that food and how good that food like would taste right now, even though I just finished eating. Like I just couldn't understand why my brain couldn't stop thinking about that food until I would literally go back and just eat that food. Now I can't breathe. I'm so full to the point that like I feel like I'm about to pass out. Like I didn't understand why. Once I do that, once I go finish that whole food, my mind is calm. Like I don't think about that food. Like it's just like it just the thought of food just disappeared. That's something that like I told my therapist about. I feel like getting help from those people really helped me out. Now like I think about food in a healthy way, where it's like you need food to kind of like grow. Another problem that like I had when it came to my food problem was where like I will feel so guilty anytime I eat something that quote unquote you're not supposed to eat if you're trying to lose weight. So let's say I have like a bite of a burger, I will feel so bad that I had a bite of a burger, and it's just like I just, that guilt was so bad that like I just could not stop feeling bad about like, why are you eating that type of food if you're trying to lose weight? It's just that's how bad I associated eating a certain food to not being able to lose weight and all that. And I feel like that should have not been the case, and I've learned that. I feel like now I'm better. I'll have a burger, I'm like, yeah, that was a good burger. Like if I want to eat the burger now, I don't feel guilty because I know that one, I worked out 3 times this whole day and there has not been food in my system. That burger needs to be in my system. I deserve that burger, right? And it's like it's just like I really don't have any guilty feelings when it came to like eating. I feel like this gives you guys more of like a background or like a gist of like how bad my relationship with food was and how like it did not help me when it came to me trying to lose weight. I feel like it hurted me more than anything else, and I feel like now I know, thanks to my nutritionist lady. Thank you, miss. I appreciate you. And also the help of my therapist and just like learning everything. This video is more about to heal that relationship with food. I feel like we need to, as summer's approaching, we're trying to, you know, we're trying to look good, we're trying to get our summer body in, we're trying to be the baddest of the baddest, and as we should, we deserve it. We deserve to feel comfortable in our body. We deserve to go out to like those like cookouts and just like have a burger, a pizza that we want, because we know that like we are working on ourselves and we're working on our relationship with food. I feel like food should not be a thing that scares us, you know. I feel like food should be a thing that makes you happy when you eat it. And I get it, like, don't get me wrong, I feel like sometimes it can be excessive. I feel like you can't just be eating burgers every day without having your vegetables. Like, it's not a balanced meal. As I learned from my nutritionist lady, you need to have a balanced meal in order to actually achieve losing weight, right? One thing that me and my nutritionist lady did, or what we started to do, is she told me to go get a journal, right? And the journal was basically how I keep track of like everything that I ate and how that food made me feel, right? So for example, I started out by saying, okay, today is April 10th, right? And then I'll put April 10th, I had a hamburger or a cheeseburger or a hot dog or a pizza, right? And I felt a little bit bad, or a little bit like what's the word, not to cuss, like I felt sluggish, I felt this, I felt that. And the reason why I felt this way is because previous to having that slices of pizza, I had a cheeseburger, right? And it's just like, now it's like, oh wow, so okay, you had a cheeseburger, then you had 2 slices of pizza, did you have any vegetables, right? So once she started like breaking things like that to me, when I started reading her on my journal to her, she's like, wow, okay, that makes sense. No, like I didn't have any vegetables. Did you have water or soda? And I'd be looking at it, I'm like, wow, there was no water in my diet. It was like all soda and juice and Kool-Aid. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's actually really not that good. So we kind of did that type of like mindful journaling and kind of like talk about how I'm feeling when I have these type of food for about like a month or 2, just to kind of like get me to understand everything, right? After we finished mindful journaling and writing down everything, then we moved on to like making things happen. The next step was task. So what task was that? My nutritionist lady would be like, okay, for today's task, you need to have 50 ounces of water. You need to have at least 2 different type of vegetables. So it could be your carrots or your broccoli, right? And then the other step would be, okay, instead of eating a lot of carbs, try to have protein. So it could be your chicken, your eggs, your salmon, something that's more protein based. And I want you to document anytime you have those type of food, right? Which I love doing that. I was like, you know what, I got you. One thing I don't back down is homework and tasks. Give me it and I'll do it, because I gotta prove everybody wrong, right? So I will come back the following week when we meet. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So she's like, okay, on Monday, what was your task? Like, what did you do? What did you complete, basically? So I'm like, you know what? I did not have your 50 ounces of water. I had about 80, period. I was like, I was so proud of myself. And then for vegetables, I actually will eat only salad with my protein, which will be like my eggs and my chicken. And then for dinner, I had like sweet potatoes with like this, with that. I'll just be listing all those stuff to her, and you can tell how happy I was when I was listing all those things to her, compared to the first beginning where I was telling her I was having pizza, this and that. It's just like my mood kind of like changed a lot throughout like my sessions with her. She even brought it out to me. She's like, wow, like you seem more happy, you seem more energetic, you seem this, you seem that. And I'm like, yeah, because like I'm doing so good. Like I'm doing so good. I gotta do good, because I cannot let myself down, because I did promise myself, God, that this year will be my year where I get to all the goals that I want to get to. So I feel like task really did help me. I will achieve it. And to this day, I still kind of like practice that. Step was kind of like my own task, right? So now she's not giving me no task, I have to give my own task. So we came up with things that I wanted to see for myself, right? So I wrote down for this task, like 2 months, I want to lose a certain pound, right? So that was one of my tasks. So I think I said I wanted to lose about like maybe like 10 pounds in a month or so. And then my other task was to have a certain amount of protein, which I said about 90 grams of protein. And then for my water intake, I wanted to have 1 gallon of water, right? And then it's just like, that was my task. I had about a month to kind of like complete that task. And something that I liked about our session is like, she's like, don't put a lot of stress on yourself. If you don't complete the task, don't feel like you failed because you came so far. I feel like it was so good to hear that. I was like, wow, I did come so far, because let's say like 3-4 months ago, I wasn't where I am. I had no vegetables in my food. Now look at me, I could eat broccoli and just love it, right? So I was like, you know what, you're right. So I think that kind of put less pressure on myself when it came to trying to like do those tasks. So I got this. And behold, that month came and I did lose the 10 pounds because your girl was on there. I was literally Chef Bourdi. I was like, I feel like Remy Golden or whatever that was, that guy's name, that chef that be so mean to people. He couldn't even say anything to me because my food was amazing. I was like flipping it and chefing it, and just like I was so happy. I feel like you never know how exciting it is to like cook for yourself, knowing that everything is like so fresh and good for your body. It just puts a smile on your face, and it did. It put a smile on my face. I loved it. I was like cooking for my family. I was like cooking. I was chefing. I was a chef in this house, right? No one could come to my kitchen and tell me what to do. It really helped me. And when that month came, I lost the weight. I lost more than the 10 pounds that I wanted to lose. I actually lost about 12.5 pounds, which I was like, what? I was so excited. I was like, wow, I did that. And I feel like throughout my whole session with her, I was just so happy because I'm like, I'm actually doing things. I then talked to her. I'm like, okay, now can you help me break down things, right? Because like I want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How do I go about it? So that's when me and her, or mostly her, but we created a chart, right? So let me pull out the chart for ya. I'm also gonna put the chart up so that you guys can also see that I feel like anyone that I have spoken to throughout my whole weight loss journey, I have sent them this particular chart because it kind of like breaks down all the things you kind of like need to do when it comes to like healing your relationship with food. Like I said, I am not a professional. I am not a nutritionist. I'm just giving you guys what me and my nutritionist lady came up with, giving you guys what helped me. So please take it with a light of salt, or is it with the salt of light, or whatever the saying is. This is what helped me. So like I really do hope it helped you guys, because it's really like a good chart with like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We went about, I don't know if you guys could see it, I'll put it up also. We went about creating stuff. So one thing was non-starchy vegetables, right? So we came up with things that are non-starchy. So these vegetables are basically good for you. It has no starch, or it's like low in starch and everything. So it was like greens, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprout, carrot, cucumber, zucchini, and asparagus, right? And then we will move on. And then we came up with lists for grain, starch, and fruit, right? So these are like your starchy food. So the starchy food was like the grains. It was bread, pasta, potato, corn, beans, lentils, and peas. It was winter squish, and it was any fruits, right? And then for our high protein, we came up with fish, seafood, meat, any meat basically, chicken, turkey, duck, eggs, tofu, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, protein powder, anything that tuna, anything that has high protein, right? Come up with everything. It was just more of like a list so that I can look through it and be like, okay, this and that. So it's just like, it wasn't like every protein thing she's gonna put on, right? It's just for me to see. So then we came up with healthy fats. So these are like all the fats that were considered healthy, right? So it's like olives, avocado, coconut oil, nuts, seed, like fatty fish, egg yolk, like organic milk, avocado oil, sesame oil, vegetable oil, just like all those stuff that you cook with. Mostly now use only avocado oil, coconut oil, and olive oil in my cooking. She has so many healthy fat stuff on here, so I'll put everything on that screen so that you guys could see, screenshot if you want to. I don't know, do what you gotta do, you know. Now we have this list, right? So then we'll basically break it down, right? And one thing that I have stick by to this day is the 3 rules when it comes to breakfast. You're wondering, what is the rule of 3? So the rule of 3 is these categories. So your protein, your vegetables, your carbs, and your fat. So that's 4 things, right? Out of those 4 things, you need to pick 3, right? Out of those 4 things. So that's why it's called the rule of 3. One thing that she said that always, with those 4 stuff that I said of the protein, vegetables, starch, and healthy fat, she said always, 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 you need your protein. So that's already one already picked out for you. That one, it was a non-negotiable. So now you need to pick 2 out of those 3 things left, right? So it's either your vegetables, your grain, or your healthy fat, right? I'll give you an example. So example would be for breakfast, I will have 2 eggs. That's my protein, always, right? And then I will have a slice of sprout bread, right? And then I can put avocado. So avocado will be my fat with tomatoes and stuff on there. So that's my 3 balanced breakfast. I have my protein, my carbs, and my fat. Period. Healthy balanced breakfast. Another example would be 1 cup of Greek yogurt with pumpkin seed and strawberries and bananas, or any mixed fruit that you want to add in. A balanced breakfast, right? That's how we went about building my breakfast, or like building breakfast if you're trying to lose weight. And ever since that, I've been following it, where like I will have, let's say, my bread with my 2 poached eggs with my vegetables on the side, a balanced breakfast. So what did we do about lunch? So lunch kind of looked like this, right? So lunch was more of like a breakdown of your plate, right? So you have a circle plate, and how we went about is we divided it in 4 split, right? So half of that plate is mostly for your non-starch vegetables, right? So it could be your carrots, your broccoli, and your asparagus. That takes half of your plate, right? It literally, like, half of that plate is just that. Okay, guys, I get it. Like, I'm not trying to starve no one. You're not gonna be starved, I promise you. What you're gonna learn is don't starve yourself, because it does not work. I've been through it. I tried to starve myself when I was doing my whole weight loss journey, and it's just like I always go back of overeating, or be like a yo-yo effect where you start losing the weight when you start starving yourself, but then you gain the weight back. So you have to have a balanced food. That's what this is. So half of that plate would be your non-starch vegetables, right? That half is gone, so now you have another half. So now that other half, you have 25% of that half is your protein. So your chicken, your salmon, your turkey, I don't know, any type of protein that you like is gonna go on that 25% of that other half, right? I'm hoping that makes sense. Let me break it down a little bit more. So let's say your plate is 100, right? So out of that 100, you're gonna take 50 of that 100 and just dedicate that to only your non-starch food. So that 50% is gone, is taken out. So now you have another 50% left. That 50%, and you're dividing that into 2. So 25% of that food is your protein now. So now you have what, only 25% of that left. So out of that 25% that you have left now, you're gonna dedicate literally 20% to your grains and your starch. Now there's only 5% left out of that whole 100. It could be with your fatty fish, it could be your yolk egg, it could be any healthy fat, right? So now let's talk about how your whole dinner is gonna be looking like. So let's say I'm about to have dinner, right? And I decided to do broccoli, carrot, and my spinach. So that's my 50%, right? And for my protein, I'm gonna do salmon. That's my 25%. For my starch and my grain, I'm gonna do sweet potato because I love sweet potato. Remaining 5%, I like avocado, right? And I call it a balanced lunch. Like, you're feeling good, you had a good breakfast, now your lunch, you're balanced, you're happy. It's like, ooh, okay, now dinner time. So one thing that I actually learned that now I actually stopped doing is having anything carb during dinner. So one thing that my nutritionist lady said is that because it's like closer to, let's say, bedtime, long time for your body to break down the starch, right? So one thing that she told me is that during dinner, don't have anything starchy. Only have your vegetables and your protein, right? So dinner is like simple. So she said for dinner, you could have 3 to 6 ounces of protein, anything protein, and then you could have 1.5 to 3 cups of your non-starchy vegetables, right? Another thing you could have is healthy fat, right? If I'm about to have dinner, how my dinner is gonna look like is that I'll have my salmon, right? And then next to my salmon is my non-starchy produce, right? And you know what, I want cucumber, or I want avocado, or like I want yolk, I want like my yolk, I want egg, right? Then that I could put that in there. So that's like 3 things, and that's like a balanced dinner. Literally, that's all the stuff my nutritionist gave me after, like, let's say like 6 months of working on other things. And to this day, I follow all the stuff that she has given me. I follow those steps because it helped me and it's still helping me. I am so close to my goal. It's like, it's insane. Like, it's about to be a year. Like, wow. Like, and I'm almost close to my goal. So I feel like what she has said and did with me really worked, and I really do want to see other girls or other women or even anyone achieve the weight that they want to achieve, because I want everybody to feel beautiful in their skin. Like, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying being big is ugly. No. There's some beautiful girls that are big, but it's just, I'm saying that like some people don't feel comfortable in their skin because they're big. That was me. I felt uncomfortable in my body because I was big. It's not because of anything. It's just I personally just did not feel pretty when I was big, because like in my back of my head, I feel like that was not the size that I need to be. And I feel like I also wanted to be healthy in terms of the stuff that I was eating. Just trying to say that what's best for you. If you want to lose the weight, do it for you because you wanted to do it, not because other people are telling you to do it. Because one thing that I noticed, that once you're listening to other people in terms of trying to lose weight for them, you're never gonna do it. I've been on this whole weight loss journey for about, let's say, like 6 to 7 years. And I was always doing it for those people because they was always telling me to lose the weight, do that. And I tried, and that's when I started developing these unhealthy relationship with food and relationship with other things, where I'm like, wow, like it's not helping. And then when I decided to lose the weight for me, because I wanted to be happy, I wanted to be healthy, I wanted to do this, I actually started improving and I started achieving it because I was doing it for me. I was happy doing it for me. I was miserable doing it for other people. So that's literally what I'm trying to say, is do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else, because at the end of the day, it's your life you're living, not other people's life. And like I said, people will say all these hurtful things to you because they're projecting. They're literally projecting their insecurity, their feelings onto you. Don't take that personal. As my therapist said, don't take it personal, sweetie. It's not you, it's them, right? So I really do hope that this breakdown helped someone, because I'm here to help. I'm just gonna end this video here. I really just want to say that, like, yes, like, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I want to say that you are beautiful in the body that you were born in, and if you're trying to change it to better you, I think it's a good thing. And if you're not trying to change, it's also a good thing. Like, just be happy, be you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're beautiful, you are loved. I love you. If no one is saying it, I truly love you. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I can come back next time and give you guys more helpful tips. But yeah, this is it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye, beautiful people. Bye.